The dust of Velthera Prime tasted like forgotten dreams. Hyunwoo wiped his forehead as he climbed over another fallen pillar, his boots crunching on stones that had not been disturbed for centuries. The ruins stretched endlessly before him, towers that once touched the clouds now lying broken like the bones of ancient giants. His scanner beeped softly, recording every detail of the dead city. He had been walking for hours. The sun of this world was orange and tired, casting long shadows across the empty streets. Hyunwoo stopped to catch his breath, pulling out his water bottle. According to the old records, this place had been the capital of the Dragonkin Empire, a civilization of beings who could breathe fire and fly among the stars. Now there was only silence and ruins. Nobody home, Hyunwoo muttered to himself, taking a long drink. Just me and the ghosts. But he was wrong about being alone. As the orange sun began to set, Hyunwoo found what looked like a good place to camp. It was a massive room with parts of the ceiling still intact. The walls showed faded paintings of dragons in flight, their scales painted in gold and crimson. In the center of the room stood a broken throne, still proud despite the cracks running through its stone. Hyunwoo set down his pack and started unpacking his camping gear. A small heating unit, a sleeping bag, and most importantly, his food supplies. The journey here had been long and he was hungry. He pulled out the sandwich he had made that morning on his ship. Simple food. Bread, some preserved meat, cheese, and vegetables. Nothing fancy, but it smelled wonderful. He was about to take his first bite when he heard it. A sound, soft, like breathing, but careful, controlled. The kind of breathing someone makes when they are trying very hard to stay quiet. Hyunwoo froze. His hand moved slowly toward the small pistol on his belt. Not to draw it, just to be ready. He turned his head slightly, scanning the shadows of the ruined throne room. There, behind a fallen column, two eyes stared back at him. They caught the dying sunlight and glowed like molten gold. Not human eyes. Not even close. Hello? Hyunwoo called out in Galactic Common, the language most species understood. I can see you there. The breathing stopped completely. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then slowly, a figure emerged from the shadows. She moved like someone who had not stood straight in a very long time. Her body was thin, almost painfully so. She wore clothes that might have once been beautiful. Royal robes of deep red and gold, but now they were tattered and dirty. Her skin was pale, but it had an odd shimmer to it. As she stepped into the light, Hyunwoo saw why. Scales. Small iridescent scales covered parts of her arms and neck, catching the light like diamonds. Two small horns grew from her temples, curving back through her long dark hair. A dragonkin. A real living dragonkin. The species everyone said was extinct. She stared at him with those golden eyes, and Hyunwoo could see the emotions warring in them. Fear, pride, hunger, desperation. She looked like she wanted to run, but her body was too weak. She looked like she wanted to attack, but she had no strength left. Mostly she just looked tired. So very, very tired. Hyunwoo made his decision in a heartbeat. He looked down at the sandwich in his hands. Then he looked back at her. Slowly, carefully, he broke the sandwich in half. He held out one half toward her, arm extended but not moving closer. You look hungry, he said simply. The Dragonkin girl stared at the offered food, then at him, then back at the food. Her throat moved as she swallowed. Hyunwoo could see her hands trembling. It's okay, he said softly. I have more, please take it. For several heartbeats she did not move. Then, like a wild animal deciding to trust for the first time, she stepped forward. One step, then another. Her movements were slow, ready to flee at any moment. But hunger drove her forward. She reached out with a shaking hand and took the offered half of the sandwich. For a moment she just held it, staring at it like she could not believe it was real. Then she brought it to her mouth and took a bite. The change was instant. Her eyes closed and a sound escaped her throat. Relief. Pleasure. The simple joy of eating real food after so long without it. She devoured the sandwich in seconds, barely chewing like she was afraid it might vanish. Hyunwoo watched quietly, then took a bite of his own half. He chewed slowly, not wanting to make her feel watched. When she finished, she stood there, breathing hard, staring at her empty hands. There's more, Hyunwoo said. He reached into his pack and pulled out another sandwich. And an apple, and a protein bar. He set them on a flat stone between them. Please, eat as much as you want. She looked at him like he had just performed a miracle. Then she sank to her knees and grabbed the food. This time she ate more slowly, as if remembering how to savor things. Hyunwoo sat down on his sleeping bag and opened his own meal, eating quietly while she finished everything he had offered. When the food was gone, she finally looked up at him. Really looked at him. Her golden eyes studied his face, his clothes, his equipment. Then she spoke. Her voice was rough from lack of use, but it carried an accent that spoke of ancient royalty. "You are human," she said. It was not a question. "Yes," Hyunwoo replied. "My name is Hyunwoo. I am a researcher. I study old civilizations," she nodded slowly. "I am Jia." She paused, then added with something that might have been dark humor. "I am the last of my civilization." Hyunwoo felt his chest tighten at those words. The last, the only one left. He had suspected it when he saw her, but hearing her say it made it real. "How long have you been here?" he asked gently. Jia looked around the ruined throne room. 300 years, give or take. I stopped counting after the first century. 300 years, alone in these ruins. Hyunwoo could not imagine it. He had been alone on this planet for less than a day and already felt the weight of the silence. "You have been hiding here since the purge," he said, putting the pieces together. "Yes." Her voice was flat. "My family sent me into the crypts below when the wreck ships came. They told me to hide, to survive. They went to fight." She looked at the broken throne. "They did not come back." "None of them came back." Hyunwoo set down his water bottle. "I am sorry," Jia laughed, but it was a bitter sound. "Everyone is sorry. But sorry does not bring back the dead. Sorry does not rebuild empires. Sorry is just a word." "You are right," Hyunwoo said. "Sorry is just a word. But sometimes it is all we have to give." They sat in silence as the orange sun finally disappeared below the horizon. The ruins grew dark around them. Hyunwoo activated his camping light and a soft glow filled the throne room. Jia stared at the light like she had not seen anything so bright in years. Maybe she had not. "Why did you give me food?" she asked suddenly. "You did not know who I was." "I could have been dangerous," Hyunwoo shrugged. "You looked hungry and scared and alone. I have food to share. It seemed like the right thing to do. Most species would have captured me, or run away, or called their authorities." "I am not most species," Hyunwoo said with a small smile. "I am human. We are weird like that." Jia stared at him for a long moment. Then for the first time in 300 years she smiled. It was small, hesitant, but it was real. "Yes," she said softly. "You are very weird." That night Hyunwoo shared his sleeping area with a living legend. Jia slept near the throne, curled up like she had done for centuries. But this time she slept with a full stomach. And for the first time in 300 years she did not sleep alone. The forgotten princess had been found. And the human who found her had offered her the most precious gift in the galaxy. Not gold, not power, just simple kindness. A sandwich, and the promise that someone cared whether she lived or died. It was a small beginning, but from small beginnings, revolutions are born. The next morning, Jia woke to the smell of cooking food. She sat up quickly, confused. For centuries, she had woken to silence and hunger. But today was different. Today there was a human making breakfast on a small heating unit, humming a tune she did not recognize. "Good morning," Hyunwoo said cheerfully. He held up a packet. "I hope you like instant noodles. They are not fancy, but they are hot and filling." Jia moved closer, drawn by the wonderful smell. Hyunwoo poured the noodles into 2 bowls and handed her one with a fork. She stared at it. "You keep feeding me," she said quietly. "Why?" "Because you need food," Hyunwoo replied, sitting down with his own bowl. "And I have food." Simple math. They ate in comfortable silence. Jia finished her entire bowl and looked at it sadly when it was empty. Hyunwoo smiled and gave her half of his. She did not argue. After breakfast, Hyunwoo began his work. He moved around the throne room with his scanner, recording the paintings and carvings. Jia watched him with curiosity. He did not act like she expected. Most species showed either fear or greed around dragonkin artifacts. Hyunwoo just showed interest and respect. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Recording everything," Hyunwoo explained. "The dragonkin civilization was incredible. Your architecture, your art, your technology, all of it should be remembered, documented, shared with the galaxy so people know what was lost." "The Vreks want it forgotten," Jia said bitterly. "They destroyed us and then erased us from history. They tell everyone we were dangerous monsters who deserved destruction." Hyunwoo stopped his work and looked at her. That is what conquerors always do. They write the history books. But historians like me, we dig deeper. We find the truth buried in the ruins. And what truth have you found? That your people built beautiful things? That they had art and culture and families? That they were people, not monsters? And that what happened to them was murder, not justice? Gia felt something crack inside her chest, something that had been frozen for 300 years. Someone believed her. Someone knew the truth. Over the next few days, a routine developed. Hyunwoo shared his meals with Gia. She grew stronger with each day of proper food. In return, she began to talk. At first, just small things. Then bigger memories. Then finally her story. She told him about being a princess. The youngest daughter of the Dragon Emperor. She had been only 15 years old when the Vrex came. Her father had sent her into the deep crypts beneath the palace with a handful of guards. He kissed her forehead and told her to be brave. To survive. That was the last time she saw him. I heard the battle above, she said one evening as they sat by Hyunwoo's light. The explosions. The screams. The roar of my father's final fire. Then silence. I waited in the dark for someone to come get me. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. No one came. Your guards? Hyunwoo asked gently. They left after a year. They said they were going to find other survivors. They never returned. I was alone, she told him how she survived. Drinking water that dripped through cracks in the ceiling. Eating the fungus that grew in the dark places. Catching the occasional small creature that wandered into the ruins. Never daring to leave, fearing the Vrex were still hunting. 300 years, Hyunwoo said, shaking his head in wonder. You survived alone for 300 years. That is incredible. It is not incredible. It is just existence. Day after day of nothing. Waiting to die but being too stubborn to give up. Gia looked at her hands. Sometimes I think I am already dead. That this is just a dream before the final darkness. Hyunwoo reached over and gently poked her arm. She looked at him in surprise. You are real, he said firmly. You are alive. And you matter. Gia did not know how to respond to that. No one had said she mattered in so long. As the days passed, Hyunwoo told Gia about the galaxy beyond the ruins. So much had changed in 300 years. The Vrex dominion had grown even stronger, controlling dozens of systems. Most species lived under their rule, paying tribute and following their laws. Any species that resisted was crushed. What about your people? Gia asked. The humans. Do you bow to the Vrex? Hyunwoo laughed. Humans bow? We are not very good at that. We tried diplomacy with the Vrex. When they demanded we submit, we politely declined. When they threatened us, we built bigger ships. When they attacked our colonies, we fought back. Now we have an uneasy peace. They leave us alone mostly, and we do the same. You are a young species, Gia said. I remember when your kind first discovered faster than light travel. That was only 200 years ago. How do you stand against the Vrex when older, stronger species cannot? Because we are stubborn, Hyunwoo said with a grin. And because we have a rule. We do not abandon our people ever. When the Vrex attack one human, they attack all humans. They learned that the hard way. Gia studied this strange human. He was not physically impressive. No scales or claws or natural weapons. Just soft skin and a quick mind. But there was something in his eyes. A strength that had nothing to do with muscles or weapons. Your people sound foolish, she said. But she was smiling when she said it. Oh, we are very foolish, Hyunwoo agreed. But we are foolish together. That makes all the difference. One evening, as the orange sun set once again, Gia asked the question that had been growing in her mind. What happens when your research is finished? When you leave this place? Hyunwoo looked at her carefully. I go back to my ship. File my reports. Move on to the next dead world. He paused. But I was hoping you might come with me. Gia's heart jumped. Come with you, where? Anywhere but here. You cannot stay in these ruins forever, Gia. You are alive. You should live, not just exist. I am a dragonkin, the only one left. Your people would see me as a curiosity, a museum piece. Some might, Hyunwoo admitted. But many would see you as a person who survived something terrible. Someone who deserves a chance at a new life. He leaned forward. You could come to human space. We have researchers who would love to learn about your culture. Not to steal it, but to preserve it. To make sure your people are remembered correctly. And what would I do in this human space? Whatever you want, study, teach, explore, just live. Make friends. Eat good food. See new places. All the things you could not do while hiding in the dark. Gia looked around the ruined throne room. This place had been her prison for 3 centuries, but it was also the last piece of her home, the last connection to her family. Leaving it felt like abandoning them all over again. I am afraid, she admitted quietly. Of what? Of everything. The galaxy has moved on without my people. What if there is no place for me in it? What if I am just a ghost of a dead empire walking among the living? Hyunwoo stood up and walked to the broken throne. He ran his hand over the cracked stone. This throne is broken, he said. But it is still beautiful. Still important. Still worth preserving. He turned to look at her. You are not broken, Gia. You are a survivor. And survivors are the strongest people in any galaxy. Your people do not even know me. Why would they help me? Because that is what we do. Humans have a saying. We are all just walking each other home. It means we help each other, even strangers, because we are all on the same journey. He smiled. Besides, you are not a stranger anymore. You are my friend. And humans protect their friends, friend. Gia tested the word in her mind. She had not had a friend in 300 years. The concept felt foreign and wonderful at the same time. What if the Virex find out I am alive? They will come for me. Then they will have to go through humans to get to you, Hyunwoo said simply. And we are very annoying to go through. Gia laughed. Actually laughed. The sound surprised her. It felt strange, but also good. Very good. You are crazy, she said. Probably, Hyunwoo agreed. But crazy has gotten humanity pretty far. Want to come be crazy with us? Gia looked at the throne one last time, then at the human who had offered her food and kindness and hope. 300 years of hiding. 300 years of just surviving. Maybe it was time to try living instead. Yes, she said. I will come with you. Hyunwoo's face lit up with genuine joy. Excellent. Fair warning, though. Human ships have terrible coffee and the music is very loud. But the company is good. I do not know what coffee is. Then you are in for an adventure. That night, Gia packed the few things she wanted to keep. A piece of cloth from her royal robes, a small carving her mother had given her, a stone from the throne room. Not much to show for 300 years, but enough to remember. As she prepared to leave the ruins that had been her prison and her sanctuary, Gia realized something. She was not abandoning her family by leaving. She was honoring them by surviving, by continuing, by refusing to let their memory die with her. The forgotten princess was ready to step back into the galaxy. And she would do it with a human friend by her side, a friend who had offered her a sandwich and changed everything. The walk back to Hyunwoo's landing site took 2 days. Gia moved slowly at first, her body still weak from centuries of poor nutrition. But with each meal Hyunwoo shared, she grew a little stronger. By the 2nd day, she could walk without stopping every few minutes. She had not been this far from the palace ruins in 300 years. Everything looked different in daylight. The city she remembered as golden and alive was now gray and dead. But the sky was still beautiful. She had forgotten how beautiful the sky could be. There she is, Hyunwoo said proudly, pointing ahead. The research shuttle Morning Star. Not much to look at, but she flies well. The shuttle was small and practical. White paint marked with human symbols and registration numbers. Gia stared at it nervously. Getting into a ship meant really leaving. Really moving forward. Her feet hesitated. We can wait if you need more time, Hyunwoo said gently. Gia took a deep breath. No, I am ready. They were 50 meters from the shuttle when Hyunwoo's communication device beeped. He pulled it from his belt and checked the screen. His expression changed instantly. From relaxed to tense in a heartbeat. What is wrong? Gia asked. Ship approaching, Hyunwoo said quietly. Big one. Military grade. He checked his scanner. Vrex design. Fear flooded through Gia like ice water. The Vrex here. She looked around frantically for somewhere to hide, 300 years of instinct taking over. Wait, Hyunwoo said, holding up his hand. Let me think. He tapped his device. They detected my survey beacon. This could just be a patrol checking on human activity. He looked at her seriously. Can you hide in the shuttle? Stay quiet. If they scan the ship, they will find me, Gia said. Her voice shook slightly. Then we do not let them scan the ship. Hyunwoo's jaw set firmly. Get inside. Stay hidden. I will handle this, Gia wanted to argue, but the sound of engines filled the air. A Vrex dropship descended through the orange sky, black and angular and menacing. She ran for the shuttle and ducked inside. hiding in the small cargo area behind supply boxes. Through a small window, she could see Hyunwoo standing calmly outside, waiting. The wreck ship landed with a thud that shook the ground. A ramp lowered with a hiss of hydraulics. 6 Vrek soldiers marched out, weapons held ready. They were large creatures, insectoid bodies covered in dark armor. Their leader was bigger than the others, with red markings on his carapace. "Human researcher," the leader said in clicking, harsh galactic common. "I am Commander Thelkor. You are in restricted space." "Good afternoon, Commander," Hyunwoo replied politely. "This is actually a registered archaeological site. Galactic heritage law allows research here. Heritage law does not apply to extinct species," Thelkor said. He gestured to his soldiers, who began spreading out. "We will inspect your vessel and your findings. Make sure you have not taken anything of value. Everything I have documented is available in my public research logs," Hyunwoo said. He did not move. "And I have not given permission for you to search my ship." The Vrek soldiers stopped. They turned to look at their commander. Thelkor tilted his head, studying the human. "You refuse inspection?" "I respectfully decline," Hyunwoo said. "This is a human vessel. You have no legal authority here?" "Legal authority," Thelkor repeated. He made a sound that might have been laughter. "Humans and their laws. You are a young species. Arrogant. Do you know what happened to the last arrogant species that refused Vrek's authority?" He pointed at the ruins. "They became dust and memory." From her hiding spot, Jia felt rage burn in her chest. These creatures, these murderers, talking about her people like they were nothing, like they deserved destruction. Her hands clenched into fists. "I know what happened to the Dragonkin," Hyunwoo said quietly. "I have spent days in their city, seen their art, their homes, their temples. They were people, not threats. What happened to them was not justice. It was genocide." The Vrek soldiers raised their weapons. Thelkor took a step closer to Hyunwoo. "Careful, human. Those are dangerous words." "Truth usually is," Hyunwoo replied. He still had not moved, had not reached for his own weapon. "You can threaten me all you want, Commander. You can even kill me, but my people will know. And humans have very long memories for injustice. Your people are far from here. No one will know what happened on this dead world. My ship has been recording everything since you landed. The data is already uploading to human networks. If anything happens to me, it becomes public. Everyone will see Vrek soldiers threatening an unarmed researcher on a protected site." Hyunwoo smiled slightly. "The galaxy might not care about justice, but they care about bad publicity." Thelkor was silent for a moment. Then he laughed, a harsh clicking sound. "Clever, very clever. This is why humans are annoying." He turned to his soldiers. "Search the area. If this human has found Dragonkin artifacts, we will take them. Heritage law is flexible when no one is left to inherit." The soldiers began moving toward the ruins. 2 approached the shuttle. Jia pressed herself deeper into the shadows, trying to make herself as small as possible. She could hear her hearts pounding. Then Hyunwoo stepped in front of the shuttle door. "I cannot let you search my ship," he said firmly. "You cannot stop us," one of the Vrek soldiers replied. "No," Hyunwoo admitted. "But I can make you go through me first. And like I said, everything is being recorded. The galaxy will watch you assault an unarmed human to steal dead people's treasures. Is that the image the Vrek's Dominion wants to show?" The soldier hesitated. Thelkor clicked his mandibles in annoyance. "You play a dangerous game, human. I am not playing anything. I am just doing my job. You are the ones threatening violence." The standoff held for several long seconds. Then Thelkor made a decision. "Fine, keep your ship. We will search the ruins ourselves. If we find anything valuable, it belongs to the Vrek's Dominion as salvage from conquered territory." "The Dragonkin were not conquered," Hyunwoo said. "They were massacred. There is a difference." "Not to the winners," Thelkor replied coldly. "That is how the galaxy works, human. The strong take what they want. The weak die. Your species will learn this eventually." "Maybe," Hyunwoo said. "Or maybe we will teach the galaxy a different way." Thelkor turned to leave, but then he stopped. He looked back at Hyunwoo with his compound eyes. "You are very brave or very stupid." "Probably both. A word of advice, human. The Dragonkin thought they were untouchable too. Their empire lasted 1,000 years. Then it ended in a single week. Remember that." The Vrek soldiers began marching toward the palace ruins. Hyunwoo stood watching them go. He did not relax until they were far away. Then he quickly climbed into the shuttle. "Jia," he called softly. "I am here." She emerged from the cargo area, shaking. You should not have done that. They could have killed you. Probably, Hyunwoo agreed. He started the shuttle's engines. But they would have found you. And I made a promise to get you out of here safely. Why? Jia grabbed his arm. Why would you risk your life for me? You barely know me. Hyunwoo looked at her with those soft, determined human eyes. Because it is the right thing to do. Because you deserve to be safe. Because humans do not abandon people who need help. He smiled. Besides, you are my friend. Friends protect each other. The shuttle lifted off smoothly. Through the window, Jia could see the Vrex soldiers reaching the palace ruins. Telcor was pointing at things, barking orders. They would tear through her home looking for treasures to steal. She should have felt sad, angry. But instead she felt something else. Hope. A human had stood between her and her people's murderers. A human had risked everything to protect her. After 300 years of darkness, someone had brought light. Where are we going? She asked. Orbital space first, Hyunwoo said, focused on the controls. Then we need to get you to human territory as fast as possible. The Vrex will eventually figure out you were here. When they do, things will get complicated. I am sorry I brought danger to you. You did not bring anything, Hyunwoo replied. The Vrex brought the danger when they decided to be bullies. You are just someone who needs help. Nothing to apologize for. As the shuttle broke through the atmosphere into space, Jia looked back at her world one last time. The orange sun cast long shadows across the ruins. Her home, her family's grave. But not her prison anymore. Thank you, she said quietly. For everything. You are welcome, Hyunwoo replied. Now let me call for backup, because when word gets out that a dragonkin survived, the whole galaxy is going to have opinions, and we need to make sure those opinions do not get you hurt. He activated the communication system and Jia heard him speaking in human language, fast and urgent. She did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. He was calling his people, asking for help. For her, the forgotten princess looked at the stars spreading out before the shuttle. For the first time in 300 years, she was leaving her planet. She was terrified. But she was not alone. A human flew beside her, and apparently where one human went, many more would follow. She was about to find out just how seriously humans took the words, "We protect our friends." The human warship Indomitable appeared in orbit exactly 47 minutes after Hyunwoo's call. It was massive compared to the research shuttle, all angular armor and weapon arrays. Jia stared at it through the shuttle window, her golden eyes wide. That came very fast, she said nervously. Human military has fast response times, Hyunwoo explained, especially when one of our people is in potential danger. The Indomitable was 2 systems away running patrol. Captain Bora diverted immediately when she heard my situation report. You told them about me? I told them everything. They know you are the last dragonkin. They know you need protection, and they know the Vrex are on the planet below. He glanced at her. I hope that is okay. I needed them to understand why this matters. Jia nodded slowly. She was not sure how she felt about more people knowing her secret. 300 years of hiding made exposure feel dangerous. But Hyunwoo had not failed her yet. The shuttle docked with the warship smoothly. As the airlock opened, a woman in military uniform stood waiting. She was older than Hyunwoo, with sharp eyes and gray streaking through her dark hair pulled back tightly. Her uniform had rank insignia that even Jia could recognize as important. Captain Bora, Hyunwoo said, saluting casually. Thank you for the quick response. Researcher Hyunwoo, Bora replied. Her eyes moved to Jia and widened slightly. And you must be Princess Jia. Welcome aboard the Indomitable. You're safe here. The title startled Jia. Princess. She had not heard anyone call her that in so long. It felt strange. Like wearing old clothes that no longer fit properly. Just Jia is fine, she said quietly. Bora nodded. Jia it is. Please both of you come with me. We have much to discuss. They walked through the ship's corridors. Human crew members stopped to stare at Jia as they passed. Some looked shocked. Others curious, but none looked hostile. They looked at her the way people look at something precious and fragile, like they wanted to protect it. In the captain's ready room, Bora gestured for them to sit. First things first. Jia, how are you feeling? Do you need medical attention? I am tired and weak, but better than I was, Jia answered honestly. Hyunwoo has been sharing his food. That has helped greatly. Good. I will have our chief medical officer check you over shortly. Dr. Tae-sung is excellent. Bo-Ra pulled up a holographic display. Now for the complicated part. The Rex know humans were researching on Velthara Prime. They do not know about Gia yet, but they will figure it out. When they do, they will demand her return. Return? Gia felt cold. To them? They will claim you are property of the Purge. Spoils of war. Unfinished business. Bo-Ra's expression was hard. We will not let that happen. You cannot fight the entire Vrex Dominion, Gia said. They have thousands of ships. Millions of soldiers. You will start a war over me. Maybe, Bo-Ra said calmly. Or maybe they will back down when they see we mean it. Humans are good at calling bluffs. She leaned forward. Listen carefully, Gia, you are not property. You are a person, a survivor of genocide, and you have asked humans for help. We do not ignore that, ever. Before Gia could respond, an alarm sounded. A crew member's voice came over the intercom. Captain, we have 3 Vrex warships entering the system. They are hailing us, Bo-Ra stood up. Put them through here. She looked at Gia. Stay calm. Let me handle this. The holographic display shifted to show Thelkor's face. His compound eyes glittered with satisfaction. Captain Bo-Ra of the human vessel Indomitable, he said. I am Commander Thelkor. I believe your researcher has something that belongs to the Vrex Dominion. Researcher Hyunwoo has documented artifacts and data, all of which will be shared according to Galactic Heritage Law. Bo-Ra replied coolly. Nothing belongs to the Vrex Dominion. Do not play games, human. We know, the Dragonkin. We scanned the ruins after your shuttle left, found traces, genetic material. She was there. And now she is on your ship. Gia's breath caught. They knew. They actually knew. I do not discuss passengers with foreign military vessels, Bo-Ra said. What I do on my ship is human business. That creature is Vrex business. Unfinished from the Purge, she will be returned to us for processing. Processing, Bo-Ra repeated. The word dripped with disgust. You mean execution, murder. She is the last of a conquered species. The Purge must be completed. This is Vrex law. This is human space now, Bo-Ra said. Her voice dropped to steel. And under human law, genocide is a crime. We do not hand people over to be murdered, ever. You risk war over one worthless creature? Thelakor sounded genuinely confused. She is not worthless. She is a person. And yes, we will risk war. That is what humans do. We protect people who need protecting, even if it costs us. Bo-Ra stood tall. You can explain to your superiors why you started a war with humanity over your need to finish murdering a species you already destroyed. See how that plays politically. You are bluffing. Try me. The silence stretched out. Gia could see Thelkor's mandibles clicking in agitation. Behind him, she could see other Vrex officers arguing. The Dominion does not forget this insult, Thelkor said finally. You make powerful enemies today, human. We made our enemies when you attacked refugee colonies, Bo-Ra replied. This just makes it official. Now, unless you want to start shooting, I suggest you leave this system. You are in the way of our departure vector. You cannot protect her forever. Watch us. Bo-Ra cut the transmission. The holographic display went dark. Bo-Ra let out a long breath and sat down. Well, that could have gone worse. Why could it? Hyunwoo asked. You just threatened war with the Vrex Dominion. I threatened nothing. I stated facts. If they want to start a war over one survivor, that is their choice. She looked at Gia and her expression softened. You are worth defending. Do not ever doubt that. Gia could not speak. Emotion clogged her throat. This human captain had just defied the most powerful military in the galaxy. For her, a stranger, someone she had only met minutes ago, why? Gia finally managed. Why would you do this? Because it is right, Bo-Ra said simply. Because you survived something horrible and deserve to keep living. Because the galaxy needs to learn that some things matter more than power. Take your pick. Over the next hours, Gia was moved to the medical bay. Dr. Tae-sung was a gentleman with patient hands and a kind smile. He ran scanners over her, checked her vitals, and shook his head at her condition. Severely malnourished, he said. Bone density is low. Muscle atrophy. You have been slowly starving for years. He looked at her seriously. You need rest and proper food. Lots of it. I am putting you on a nutrition plan. How long until she is healthy? Hyunwoo asked. He had refused to leave her side. Months, at least. Maybe a year. Dragonkin biology is different from human, but the basics are the same. She needs time to heal. Taesung placed a hand on Jia's shoulder. But you are strong. You survived 300 years. You will survive this too. Jia was given quarters near the medical bay. They were small but clean and comfortable. A real bed. A bathroom with hot water. Luxuries she had forgotten existed. When she tried the shower, she cried. The hot water felt like forgiveness washing away 3 centuries of dirt and despair. That evening, Hyunwoo brought her dinner. Real food prepared by the ship's kitchen, vegetables, protein, bread, simple but wonderful. They ate together in her quarters. The Vrex ships have left the system, Hyunwoo said. But they are watching, waiting to see where we go. I have brought trouble to your people, Jia said sadly. You have brought purpose, Hyunwoo corrected. Humans need something to believe in. Something worth defending. You give us that, he smiled. Besides, we were already annoyed at the Virex. This just makes it personal. Your species is insane. Completely, he agreed cheerfully. But it works for us. Later that night, Jia lay in her bed staring at the ceiling. The ship hummed around her with life and purpose. Outside her door, human crew members stood guard, not watching her as a prisoner, protecting her as someone valuable. She thought about her family, her father, her mother, her siblings all gone, murdered by the Vrex. She had spent 300 years surviving but not living, existing but not thriving, hiding but not healing. But now things were different. Now she had allies, friends, people who looked at her and saw someone worth saving. Humans who did not care about power or profit, who cared about what was right. The forgotten princess closed her golden eyes. For the first time in 300 years, she felt something she thought was lost forever. Hope. Real, genuine hope that maybe, just maybe, her life could mean something again. Outside her window, the stars stretched endlessly. The Vrex were out there somewhere, plotting and planning. But between them and her stood the shield of humanity, soft, strange, stubborn humans who had decided that one dragonkin life mattered more than peace with an empire. She would not waste their gift. She would not hide anymore. She would live, really live, and she would make sure her people were remembered not as monsters, but as they truly were. A civilization of beauty and culture that was murdered for no reason but greed. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight Jia slept peacefully, protected, safe, no longer forgotten, no longer alone. The sandwich had been just the beginning. What came next would change the galaxy forever. 3 months passed. 3 months of good food, medical care, and safety. Jia could hardly recognize herself anymore. Her scales had regained their iridescent shimmer. Her body had filled out to healthy proportions. She no longer looked like a ghost. She looked alive. The Indomitable had brought her to Unity Station, a massive human orbital platform above Earth. It was beautiful and chaotic at once. Thousands of humans living and working in space, ships coming and going constantly, the hum of life and purpose everywhere. Jia had been given quarters in the diplomatic section. Not fancy but comfortable. She had a window that showed Earth below, that blue and green world that had produced these strange, kind, stubborn people. Sometimes she would sit for hours just watching it turn. Hyunwoo visited her every day. He brought books and movies and food. He told her about human history and culture. He became her guide to understanding these people who had saved her. Your people nearly destroyed themselves several times, Jia said one day as they shared lunch. Nuclear weapons. Climate collapse, diseases, how did you survive? Stubbornness mostly, Hyunwoo said with a grin. And the fact that when things get really bad, humans tend to work together instead of falling apart. We are good at cooperation when it matters. The Dragonkin were not good at that, Jia admitted. We were powerful individually, but we had trouble working together. Each family wanted to be the strongest, the most respected. That weakness made it easier for the Vrex to divide us. Every species has weaknesses. The trick is learning from them. Hyunwoo offered her half of his sandwich just like that first day. It had become their ritual. Speaking of learning, Ambassador Jaehee wants to meet with you today. She has news. Ambassador Jaehee was an elegant woman with sharp intelligence and a warm smile. She worked for the human government, representing Earth in galactic politics. Her office overlooked the station's main dock, ships visible through the large window. Jia, thank you for coming, Jaehee said, gesturing to a comfortable chair. How are you feeling? Better every day, Jia replied. Thanks to your people's care. Good, I am glad. Jae-hee pulled up several holographic documents. I wanted to update you on the situation. The Vreks have officially demanded your extradition through the Galactic Council. They claim you as property of conquest. Gia's improved health could not stop the spike of fear. What did the council say? They are debating. Many species are afraid of angering the Vreks, but others are starting to question the purge. Your survival has opened old wounds. People are asking uncomfortable questions. Jae-hee smiled slightly. Questions the Vreks do not want asked. What happens if the council sides with the Vreks? Then humanity ignores the council, Jae-hee said simply. You are under our protection. That does not change based on politics. You would defy the entire galactic government? We would, and we have. The council has no military to enforce their decisions. They depend on member species to follow rulings voluntarily. Humans are not always great at volunteering. Jae-hee leaned forward. But I did not call you here to worry you. I called because we have a proposal. An opportunity. What kind of opportunity? We want to make your story public. Not just on human networks, but across the entire galaxy. Your survival. What happened to your people? The truth the Vreks have tried to bury. Jae-hee paused. But only if you agree. This is your choice entirely. Gia's hearts raced. You want me to speak publicly? To the whole galaxy? We want to give you a voice, Jae-hee corrected. The Vreks have controlled the narrative about the Dragonkin for 3 centuries. They call your people dangerous monsters who had to be eliminated. You can show the truth, that you were a civilization, a culture, people with families and art and dreams, people who were murdered. The Vreks will hate this. The Vreks already hate us, Hyun-woo said from where he sat nearby. At least this way, other species will know why, Gia thought carefully. For 300 years she had hidden, stayed silent, survived in the shadows. Speaking out meant becoming visible, becoming a target. But it also meant her family would be remembered. Her people would have their truth told. What do I have to do? She asked. Over the next weeks, Gia recorded her testimony. She spoke about Dragonkin culture, their art, their music, their philosophy. She showed old hollows that Hyun-woo had recovered from Velthara Prime, images of her family, of the capital city when it was alive, of ordinary Dragonkin living ordinary lives. Then she spoke about the purge, about watching her world burn, about hiding while her family died fighting, about 300 years of survival in darkness and despair. She cried during parts of it. Hyun-woo held her hand. The camera kept recording. I am the last, she said at the end, the last Dragonkin in all the galaxy. My entire species was erased because the Vreks wanted our resources and our territory. They called us monsters to justify murder. But we were not monsters. We were people, and we deserved to live. The broadcast went out on every major network. Within hours, it spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Humans watched it and felt rage at the injustice. But other species watched too. Species that had their own grievances with the Vreks. Species that had lost their own people to Dominion expansion. The reaction was massive. Some species defended the Vreks, claiming the purge was justified. But many others began to speak out, to share their own stories of Vreks brutality, to question why the galaxy had allowed such evil to go unpunished. The Galactic Council was forced to hold hearings. For the first time in 3 centuries, the Dragonkin purge was officially investigated. Evidence was presented. Witnesses testified. The truth came into the light. Ambassador Jae-hee spoke at the hearings. Her words were calm but devastating. For 300 years, the galaxy has pretended the Dragonkin deserved destruction. We told ourselves comfortable lies because the truth was too ugly to face. But the truth will not stay buried. The Dragonkin were murdered. Their civilization was erased. And one survivor spent 3 centuries alone in the dark because we were all too afraid to stand up to the Vreks. She gestured to where Gia sat in the gallery watching. That survivor is here today, alive, strong, a living witness to genocide. And humanity will protect her, even if it means standing alone against the Dominion. Because some things matter more than politics or profit. Some things matter more than safety. Like justice, like compassion, like basic decency. The council ruled that Gia was a free sovereign, not property, not a spoils of war. A person with rights and protections. It was a small victory, but an important one. The Vreks were furious. They pulled their diplomats from human space. They threatened sanctions, trade restrictions, military action. Humanity shrugged and continued protecting Gia. But something else happened too. Something unexpected. Other species began quietly approaching human representatives. Species that had been oppressed by the Vrex. Species that wanted to resist but had been too afraid. They asked if humanity would offer the same protection they gave Gia, the same stubborn defiance, the same willingness to stand up to bullies. Humanity said yes. Within a year, a new alliance formed, not built on military might or economic power, but on shared values, species that believed in cooperation over domination, justice over power. They called it the Free Worlds Coalition, and humanity was its heart. Gia became the coalition's ambassador of lost peoples. She spoke for civilizations that had been erased or nearly destroyed. She made sure their stories were remembered, that their cultures were preserved, that they were seen as people, not footnotes in history. She traveled to dozens of worlds, always accompanied by human guards, not because she was a prisoner, but because humans kept their promises. They said they would protect her, and they did. 2 years after Hyunwoo found her in the ruins, Gia stood on the observation deck of Unity Station. She wore robes that honored her heritage but fit her new life. Her scales shimmered with health. Her eyes were clear and bright. Hyunwoo joined her carrying 2 sandwiches. It was their tradition now. Whenever they met, they shared a sandwich, a reminder of where they started. "Thought you might be hungry," he said, offering one. Gia laughed and accepted. They stood together, looking out at Earth and the ships coming and going. The Vrek still lurked out there, angry and dangerous, but they no longer approached human space. The cost was too high, the humans too stubborn. "Do you ever regret it?" Gia asked. "Giving me that first sandwich? All the trouble it brought?" Hyunwoo took a bite of his food and thought about it. "No," he said finally. "You were hungry. I had food. Everything else just followed naturally. You make it sound simple. It is simple. Humans just do what is right and deal with the consequences. We have been doing it for thousands of years. It works pretty well for us." Gia smiled. "Your people are insane." "Completely," Hyunwoo agreed, "but in a good way." They ate in comfortable silence, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, the Vrex plotted revenge, but they would find no easy targets. Humanity had drawn a line and stood firm, and where humanity stood, others found courage to stand with them. The forgotten dragon princess was forgotten no more. She was remembered, honored, protected. She had become a symbol of resistance, a reminder that one person could matter, that survival was not just about living, but about refusing to let evil win. And it had all started with a simple act of kindness. A sandwich offered to a stranger, a moment of compassion in a cruel galaxy. From small beginnings, revolutions are born. From one sandwich, a galaxy began to change. The Vrex had thought they won when they destroyed the Dragonkin Empire. But they were wrong. They had left one survivor, and that survivor had found humans. That was their first mistake. Their last would be assuming humans would ever stop protecting her. Gia finished her sandwich and looked at Hyunwoo. This strange, wonderful human who had saved her life by offering food and friendship, who had risked everything for a stranger, who had reminded her that kindness existed in the darkness. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For everything. For giving me back my life." Hyunwoo smiled. "You are welcome. Though technically you gave yourself your life back. You survived 300 years. That is all you. I just offered a sandwich." "It was a very good sandwich," Gia said. "It really was," Hyunwoo agreed. They stood together as the stars turned, the last dragonkin and the human who found her, friends bound by sandwich and circumstance, proof that even in the darkest times, even in the cruelest galaxy, kindness could spark revolutions. The dawn had come, and with it defiance, hope, and the promise that no one would be forgotten again. Not while humans remembered, not while Gia lived to tell her story. The galaxy was changing, one sandwich at a time,